He stood in the middle of the elementary school cafeteria and introduced his new wife as my children's real mom. I felt every single mother in that room look at me at the same time. But let me back up, because none of this makes sense without knowing where I started. If you have ever been a woman who built a whole life quietly behind the scenes while someone else stood in the spotlight, this one is for you. My name is Avery Campbell. I'm from the Pacific Northwest, just outside Tacoma, Washington, and for most of my adult life, I was a nurse, labor and delivery. The irony is not lost on me. I used to bring babies into the world for other women and then go home to a husband who acted like I too was barely holding ours together. Ryan and I met when we were 23. He had that easy grin, the one that made you feel like you were in on some private joke. He worked in medical device sales. Charming, polished, always networking. I worked night shifts in scrubs that smelled faintly of antiseptic and baby powder. When we got married, his mother, Avery Campbell, pulled me aside at the reception. She smelled like Chanel and white wine. In this family, she said, smoothing the front of my dress like I was already wrinkled, the wives keep the home steady so the men can build something big. It wasn't said cruelly. It was said like a fact, like gravity. That was the tradition. Campbell men climbed. Campbell women steadied the ladder, and I swallowed it whole. When we had our first baby, Lily, I went back to 12-hour night shifts 6 weeks postpartum because Ryan's travel schedule was too important to disrupt. When Noah was born 3 years later, I moved to part-time, then per diem. I managed the pediatrician appointments, the preschool wait lists, the birthday parties with Pinterest-level cupcakes I made at 2 a.m. Ryan got promoted twice. At every family holiday, Karen would raise her glass and say, "We're so proud of Ryan," and Avery, "Thank you for holding down the fort." Holding down the fort, like I was sandbags, not a person. Here's the part I don't say out loud often. I was good at my job. Really good. Other nurses would ask me to take their complicated patients. I had doctors who trusted my instincts. I loved the intensity, the purpose. But every time I picked up extra shifts, Ryan would sigh. "Babe, the kids need consistency." Translation: I need you available so I don't have to be. So I built my life smaller and smaller around his. Then one night, I came home early from a shift that got canceled. And there he was, in our kitchen, laughing, pouring wine, with Emma Jensen, Emma, from his office. The one he said was, basically, a kid. She was 31, blonde, always commenting heart emojis on his LinkedIn posts. I remember the hum of the refrigerator, the smell of garlic from something I had prepped earlier, the way my nursing clogs squeaked slightly on the tile. They froze when they saw me, and Ryan didn't even look ashamed. He looked inconvenienced. "Avery," he said, like I had walked in on a business meeting. The divorce was fast, almost suspiciously fast. He moved out within 3 weeks. Within 4 months, he was engaged. Within 6, married. If you've ever watched your entire life get replaced like outdated furniture, you know the specific kind of nausea I'm talking about. But none of it, prepared me for the school incident. It was Lily's second-grade family appreciation breakfast. Those pastel construction paper decorations, lukewarm coffee in giant silver dispensers, kids singing slightly off-key. I was sitting at a tiny cafeteria table when Ryan walked in holding Emma's hand. Emma in a cream sweater dress. Emma with her glossy blowout. Emma smiling like she'd practiced it in the mirror. And then Ryan clapped his hands lightly and said to the teacher, loud enough for everyone, "We're so excited to be here." Emma's really stepped into the mom role. I felt it land like a slap. One of the other mothers, Trish Donovan, looked at me, eyes wide. And then Lily, my sweet, sensitive Lily, tugged on Emma's sleeve and said, "Dad says you're like our real mom now because you're here all the time." I swear to you, I could not breathe for a full 3 seconds. Have you ever had your child repeat something you know didn't come from them? Drop a comment if you've felt that gut punch, because it changes you. But I didn't scream. I didn't cause a scene. I smiled at Lily. And I said, evenly, "You can have lots of people who love you, but you only have one mom who grew you." And Emma's smile tightened. Ryan avoided my eyes. That was the moment everything shifted. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I realized if I didn't build something solid for myself, my kids would grow up believing I was optional. And here's where my niece comes in. My younger sister, Leah, had her daughter, Chloe, at 19. Chloe basically grew up in my house. She's 12 years younger than Lily, all big brown eyes and messy ponytails. The first time Chloe appears in this story, she's 6, sitting on my kitchen counter while I ice cupcakes. "Aunt Avery," she asked, swinging her sparkly sandals, "why does Uncle Ryan get to travel, and you have to stay home? Kids notice everything." I laughed it off. Because that's just how it works sometimes. But the way she frowned, like that answer didn't sit right, stayed with me. The second time Chloe matters, she's 10. She's at Thanksgiving. Karen is hosting, of course. Emma is there now, wearing an apron like she earned it. Karen says loudly, "Emma's so natural with the kids. Some women are just born for it." Chloe is next to me at the table. She whispers, "But you're the one who knows Lily's allergy and Noah's spelling words." I squeeze her knee under the table, and in that moment, I realize she's watching. She's learning what womanhood looks like. Do you know how heavy that feels? When a younger girl is studying your life like it's a blueprint? After the cafeteria incident, I stopped shrinking. I picked up more shifts. Then I applied for a supervisory position at the hospital. Ryan scoffed when he found out. "Who's going to handle the kids' schedules?" "I am," I said. "And you are. That's how co-parenting works." He hated that word. Emma tried to outdo me at everything. Homemade organic lunches on my custody days. Signing up to volunteer in Lily's classroom. And here's the part that still stings. She threw away the memory box I kept at Ryan's house. I had packed a small plastic bin for the kids to keep there. Baby drawings, a hospital bracelet, a photo of me holding them right after birth. When I went to swap winter coats one weekend, it was gone. Emma shrugged. It was clutter. Years of tiny, sacred moments. I drove home shaking. I cried in the shower so the kids wouldn't hear. But instead of confronting her, which is what old me would gid, I started documenting everything. Digitizing photos, scanning artwork, creating something no one could toss in the trash. I began hosting small parenting workshops at the hospital. Nothing huge, just informal sessions for new moms. How to navigate newborn sleep, postpartum anxiety, co-parenting transitions. Word spread. Soon, moms from Lily's school started attending. Trish, Mandy, even quiet little Rose from down the street. They'd sit in folding chairs with coffee, asking me questions. How do you handle shared custody without losing your mind? What do you say when your ex's new partner oversteps? And I'd tell them the truth, calmly. Honestly, I never bashed Ryan. I never mentioned Emma by name. But somehow, my living room became a safe place. Have you ever built something quietly while the person who underestimated you wasn't even paying attention? By the time Chloe is 14, this is her third moment. She comes to me in tears. She's at my house after school. Lily and Noah are upstairs. Chloe is sitting at my kitchen island, twisting a bracelet around her wrist. "Mom says I should pick classes that won't intimidate boys," she whispers. I feel something inside me go still. "Excuse me?" She says guys don't like girls who are too ambitious, that it's better to be supportive. There it is. The same tradition. Different generation. Campbell wives steady the ladder. Only now it's reaching my niece. And I realize, if I don't visibly rewrite this story, Chloe will inherit it. So I make a structural move. I accept a full-time director of maternal health position at a new women's clinic opening in Seattle. It means restructuring custody. It means formalizing our schedule in a way Ryan can't manipulate. It means child support recalculated based on actual income. His and mine. Not to hurt him, but to set a precedent. Everything documented, court-stamped, unchangeable. Ryan is furious. "You're making this transactional." "It always was," I reply softly. And then comes the return moment. The school is hosting a community impact night. Parents who've contributed to the community are invited to speak. I don't even know I've been nominated until Trish calls me. "Avery," she says, "we all put your name in." I almost decline. Old habits. But Chloe, now 15, taller, fiercer, looks at me and says, "If you don't go, it's like saying what you do doesn't matter." So I go. The gym smells like varnished wood and popcorn. Folding chairs line the floor. Fairy lights strung across the basketball hoops. Ryan and Emma are there. Emma in another cream outfit. Always cream. Karen is seated front row. When they call my name, Avery Campbell, Director of Maternal Health and founder of Mothers Forward, there's applause. Real applause. I walk to the stage slowly, my heels clicking against the polished floor. I can feel Ryan's eyes on me. I take the microphone, and I don't talk about him. I talk about invisible labor. About mothers who show up to every game, every appointment, every midnight fever, about women rebuilding after betrayal. I say, motherhood isn't about proximity. It's about presence. It's about who stays steady when things fall apart. The gym is silent. Then I look at Lily and Noah, and I say gently, and to my kids, no one replaces the woman who grew you. Love expands. It doesn't erase. Emma's face goes pale. Karen looks down. Ryan swallows. But the most important reaction? Chloe. She's in the second row, eyes shining, back straight. After the speech, mothers line up to hug me. Trish whispers, "You're the one we call now. You know that, right?" And it hits me. I didn't need to fight for the title of real mom. I became something bigger, respected, sought after, steady on my own terms. Later that night, as we're leaving, Lily slips her hand into mine. "Mom," she says, "just Mom. Emma's nice, but she's not you." And I smile, because I never wanted to erase anyone. I just refused to be erased. At home, I pull out a new memory box. Not plastic this time. Solid cedar. It smells warm and earthy. Chloe helps me place photos inside. Lily adds a new drawing. Noah tucks in his soccer ribbon. This box stays in my house. On my terms. Unmovable. And if you're a woman who's been quietly replaced, sidelined, minimized, hear me when I say this. You don't have to scream to win. Sometimes, the most powerful revenge is becoming the woman they can't diminish. If this story felt like it was written for you, subscribe to Her Untold Revenge. And send this to a woman who needs to remember, she was never optional.